It's not about you handling people, it's about you handling yourself and how you feel. Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing well. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for those that support me, my 5 friends. I see you. This video is geared towards those that are going to be going to law school shortly, not necessarily those that are already in law school, but I believe that some of the tips in this video will help those that are currently in law school struggling with mental health. A bit of a disclaimer, I am not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist, I'm not any kind of ist. I'm not qualified to diagnose you, I'm not qualified to give you some kind of a therapy plan. So everything I say, just think of it as you have an older sister or a younger sister, I don't know, that went to law school and that has gone through something. And this is just her tips to you. She's not board certified to give you any kind of advice. Here's the truth about law school and every single thing that you ever go through in life. Some people are going to have no problems at all mentally, and some people are going to have a lot of problems mentally. Everything depends on your sensitivity level, how you adjust to new circumstances, how you adjust to new people, how you adjust to difficult people, how you adjust to opinionated people, and how you thrive in a very competitive environment. You may think like I thought. I have gone through the worst possible years, elementary school, middle school, high school, undergrad, and now I'm going into law school. I can handle these people. That's literally what I thought. It's not about you handling people, it's about you handling yourself and how you feel. Law school is completely different than any other school you have gone to in the past. There's a lot of friction and a lot of stress that happens because of that, because people are so competitive. Even if not overtly, they're covertly competitive, and it can get to be really difficult to navigate that. So my first tip is to not think that anybody's smarter than you. I don't care if somebody has been in law enforcement for 34 years. I don't care if they've been a paralegal for 34 years. You were all on the same page when it comes to learning specifically from that professor that is teaching you. You're all going to be taking the same exam. Now, some people may have some kind of an advantage, some people have some kind of a disadvantage, but mostly you guys are pretty much on the same level. Do not think that anybody deserves to be in law school more than you, or deserves to get a good grade more than you. You work for the grade that you want. But don't stress yourself out thinking, oh my goodness, this person knows so much more than me. It may actually be more difficult for them to unlearn the things that they already know and to learn the way that the professor is teaching you. So you may actually have an advantage. Keeping that in mind, the person that keeps raising their hand in class does not know more than you. They probably just want to hear themselves talk. And I've been that person that wants to hear myself talk, so no shade. I'm just letting you know I'm not smarter than you. The next tip I have is to find a way to deal with the terror of cold calling. If you don't know, the Socratic method is the way that professors call on you in law school, and they basically have a discussion with you about a particular case. No matter how much you prepare, you more than likely are still going to feel like you're not prepared enough. And usually you might not be prepared, because the more that you get prepared, there's some professors that love cold calling so much that when they see that you've prepared, they think it's their duty as good teachers to make you think you don't know anything. So what they'll do is they'll basically keep asking you questions until they stump you, and sometimes they'll create a hypothetical for you. And yeah, so basically the more that you prepare, there's no way to completely prepare for anything, especially when somebody's trying to stump you like that. Keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that everybody is in the same exact boat. Everybody is afraid of cold calling, at least most people are. And the people that are no longer afraid of cold calling or are less afraid are the people that have found some kind of a coping mechanism, or they just don't care and they're just good at it, and good on them, but most likely you're not that person. Nobody likes to get cold called on. Also keep in mind that everybody at one point completely bombs a cold call. Now, the fact that other people are going to judge you may be true. The fact that other people are going to talk about you may be true. And the beauty of growing in law school is knowing when that truly doesn't matter. Let me tell you a secret about law school students. They talk about everybody. They judge everybody. They judge everyone on everything because they judge themselves the most. And I'm talking about myself too, which means that everything that comes out of people's mouth, you have to put it through a million filters and realize, is this exactly how they feel about themselves? Is this just a way for them to feel better about themselves? Are they just nasty people? I don't know. I don't know exactly how you want to figure out how to not care what your peers think of you that much, but I think what you also need to do is to have a healthy perspective of what your professor thinks of you. If you are doing your best in the class, not doing well on a cold call is not going to hurt you. The professor will be upset at you and may not be impressed with you if you did not prepare at all. The professor knows who prepared and who didn't prepare. What you want to show the professor is that you prepared. That's it. You need to do your best and you need to prepare. Now, when it comes to anxiety during cold calls or during class, I personally have had to leave several times because I felt like a panic attack was coming on. And I needed to leave in order to breathe in the restroom, outside, anywhere, in order to just chill out, get out of that zone. I will link a few YouTube videos if I find them about how to calm your breathing down. Do not be afraid to leave the classroom. If you're experiencing extreme stress, you need to go to a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a therapist on campus, anybody, a counselor, anybody that is specializing in law school stress on a campus. You need to talk to them and they need to figure out some kind of plan for you. You may not even know, but your stress may be tied to something underlying the stress. And you may just think, oh, I'm stressed out just like everybody else. You might have some condition that you are unaware of. You might have some diagnosis that you are unaware of. Please do not avoid going to a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist, or anybody on campus just because you're afraid of character and fitness. Character and fitness is of course important. You need to be alive at the end of law school in order to even apply for character and fitness. And I'm not trying to be funny saying that, but I'm completely serious. You don't know where your head can go when you're that stressed out. Besides having some kind of a therapist, having some kind of treatment, you need to find ways outside of that for people to support you. I would suggest cultivating a group of friends outside of law school. People that you feel like you can trust, people that you feel like you can vent to, people that have had your back for years. You need to go back to those one or two people and keep them close to your side. If you have any kind of family strain, obviously ignore this, but if you have family members that are looking out for you, that are really concerned about your well-being, you need to spend time with them. You need to talk to them about things. And if just spending time with your family and friends helps you, that's all you need to do. You don't have to talk to them about your problems if you don't feel comfortable, but if you come to a boiling point, you need to talk to somebody. Going along with outside friends and family and support groups, I would suggest getting plugged into some kind of a faith group, whether that is a church, a mosque, a temple. You need to figure out your community that will help you. You need to find a community that will help you, whether that's online, in person, whatever it takes. You need to find somebody that will help you through stress. I think it's best to figure these things out before you go to law school, because when you're actually busy with things, when you have 50 million things going on in your brain, you won't have time to find somebody like that. You won't have time to cultivate those friendships, those communities, in order to be able to come up to somebody and say, hey, I'm really going through something. Obviously you probably already have friends, your lifelong friends that you could come to, but maybe start cultivating that community outside of your friends, like a group that you're involved in, going to another church, going to another mosque, going to another temple. Find a community where you feel loved and supported and that you know will have your back when you are up against the wall. Going off of that, I already explained to you the kinds of people that are in law school. That doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that we're all kind of a ball of stress, at least the first year. We are all stressed out. We're all trying to prove ourselves. We're all trying to be good. We're all trying to succeed. And if during that time you have a hard time keeping or finding friends, there's nothing wrong with you. Even if you lack some kind of social skills, I still don't think there's something wrong with you. I think that inherently there's nothing wrong with you personally. That is my opinion. You need to work out whatever social skills you feel like you lack. If you've done the work and you feel like, okay, it's not me, people just don't vibe with me, that is not your fault. There's nothing you can do about it. You just need to try to find a community outside of law school, and that is totally okay. Another tip is that you should not worry about the way that other people study. I think that it's totally fine to ask people how they prepare for class, how they brief, how they take notes, how they cope with stress. I think that's totally fine, but keep in mind that nobody's like you. You don't need to brief exactly like Janice. You don't need to learn and make outlines exactly like Candace. I don't know, I can't think of any other names. What you need to do is you need to figure out exactly what works for you. Just because some people can study in a group doesn't mean that you can study in a group. It doesn't make you a bad person, doesn't make you a bad friend. It makes you you. Along with figuring out a community of people that will support you, you need to find processes that support you. Going for a run, going for a walk, going to do yoga, going to take a bath, you need to create routines that help you de-stress. The most important thing that I've heard about law school is to find what works for you and to stick to it. And if somebody judges you for it, that's fine. If somebody judges you because you don't do any of your reading during the weekdays, that's okay. I personally like doing all of my reading on the weekends, just getting everything done on the weekends. That's the way that I function best. The next tip that I would say is a little bit more cliche than others, but it's extremely important. You are not your grades. You are not as smart as your grades. You're not as dumb as your grades. Your grades are just an assessment of how you did with that particular professor at that particular time. Keeping that in mind, please do not tell people your grades unless you feel comfortable with somebody and they actually ask you for it. I have done this before. I've hurt people's feelings by sharing grades that I thought were great just because I was happy about it. Share your grades with people not in school. Do not share your grades with other people that are in school because they're going to start getting nervous, they're going to start getting anxious, and they might feel really horrible about themselves if they got a really bad grade and you did really well. But if your friend tells you their grade and their grade is much better than yours and you feel like you studied so much for this class, it's just absolutely not fair. How is that possible that somebody got a much better grade than me and I just studied day and night for this class? If it brings you any comfort, I don't think that anybody asks your grades past a certain point once you're an attorney. All you have to do is get those first couple jobs and you're good to go. Like I said, your grades are literally just reflective of you taking that professor with those specific people at that specific time. You only know how much you studied, and if you gave it your all, you have nothing to be upset about. You gave it your all. If you didn't give it your all, you just need to figure out what will it take for me to give it my all in the next class. And that's something that you have to ask yourself and do an analysis about. Also, do not share your accomplishments on every single Instagram post, every single Facebook post, every single LinkedIn post. Like, we get it. Congratulations. I know that it's not fair to keep your accomplishments to yourself while other people maybe are not doing so well. It seems like, well, I should be proud of myself. I would caution you to think, why are you doing it? Are you doing it just to stick it to somebody? Are you doing it just to make it seem like you're smarter than everybody else? If you are truly doing it in order to gain better employment prospects, just post it on LinkedIn. If you have something extraordinary that you completed, I think you should post it. But I think you have to be really mindful of the things that you post in general. But if you're posting things just to show off how proud of yourself you are, it's okay to post every once in a while, but just don't post all the time. People are going to be really annoyed and it's going to make them feel like crap. And when somebody posts something on Facebook or on Instagram or on LinkedIn and you're seeing it and you didn't get that achievement, same thing with grades, it doesn't say anything about you. You just need to keep your blinders on, focus on what will make you the best student, and focus on what makes you the best human, and just keep at it. If you feel like you need to get away from social media for your own mental health, then do it. Another thing that you're going to come across is people, especially after the first semester, not so much after the second semester, people after the first semester of law school, how they did on their tests. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that because it's going to send you into a whirlwind of wondering how you did on a specific question and whether that person was correct. Like, you already took the test, you don't need to worry about it until they post something about it, which is your professor, they post the grade. You don't want to talk to people about your grades, period, because it's just sort of like a stress ball. And I personally have done this, and people have said to me, I prefer not to talk about it, and I'm just like, totally understand. I think I did that after like my second semester, maybe after the first one. I mean, you just have to know who you're talking to. If you have your friends that talk about these things, that's one thing, but I would caution you against doing it all together, just because it just creates unnecessary stress, both for yourself and for other people. I know that in law school we tend to, we thrive on stress, but you don't need any more. Another tip I have, and I'm not sure if I've already mentioned it, but everybody talks about everybody. Don't take it personally. And keeping that in mind, don't give them something to talk about. Just keep to yourself and be very cautious what information you give out to other people. If you are really struggling in law school for whatever reason, you feel like you need accommodations, there is absolutely no reason why you shouldn't just at least talk to somebody. I understand that there's probably some kind of a stigma or whatever against this, but if people have some kind of a stigma against it, that's their own problem. You need to do you. You need to be in the best shape that you can be in, and you need to be completely honest with the person that is evaluating you, and if they feel like you need accommodations, you take those and you run. I have one last tip, and hopefully it's not a trigger for anybody, but law school is a place where people are very opinionated, and people are both educated and uneducated. They have both lived and not lived your life experiences. It's going to be very difficult to deal with people that don't have your same political viewpoints, that don't have your same religious viewpoints, that have not lived the experience that you have lived. The most important thing is to not internalize it, but to do things about it. So, for example, raising awareness on campus and questioning the people that say certain things in class. If you are unable to question them, or you're afraid to question a professor or a student in class, I would urge you to talk to them after class to express your viewpoint, or how their comment made you feel. And do not be afraid to go to therapy and to try to unwind the things that you're going through. Those are all my tips. If you have any questions for me, if you want to send me a question, I have my Instagram. You can DM me. And if I missed something, please put it down below. If you have had any similar experiences, please put it down below in the comment box. If you'd like me to make any videos in the future about any specific topic, please feel free to comment about it. If you feel like I'm wrong about something, please feel free to leave a comment about it. I welcome discussion. I post videos every week, so if you have any suggestions as to what you'd like me to make a video about, please let me know. Feel free to DM me on my Instagram. Hopefully this helped you out. See ya!